You know that feeling, right? Stuck at a crossroads, absolutely paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong move? We've all been there. But what if there was a way to completely reframe that anxiety? In this explainer, we're going to break down a really powerful framework that can turn life's toughest choices from something you dread into a real opportunity for growth. So, let's get into it.
All right, so let's start with the problem itself. It's that knot in your stomach when you're facing a major fork in the road. It's a feeling we all know. But the framework we're exploring today suggests there's a completely different way to look at the whole thing.
I mean, think about it. Whether it's a new job, a big move, or a decision about your kid's school, these high-stakes choices can just totally take over your thoughts. You start making pro-con lists, you're losing sleep. The source material calls this the pattern of the world. It's a cycle of worry that can just become all-consuming. And here's the thing. This is where the real anxiety comes from. It's not so much about the decision itself, but about the immense pressure we put on ourselves to get it right. The source material has a great name for this intense, self-focused story we tell ourselves. It's called our ego drama, where our success and our feelings are the absolute center of the plot.
Okay, so how do we break free from that cycle? Well, the solution lies in a huge shift in perspective, and it's drawn from two key ideas in the book of Romans. This is where we learn to stop seeing challenges as threats and instead start seeing them as opportunities. Now, this first idea, it's a total game changer. Instead of dreading difficult times, the idea is that we can actually find real value in them. The core message here is that hardships aren't pointless. No, they have a very specific and powerful purpose: to produce endurance.
So what that really means is that our challenges aren't just obstacles to get around, they're formative experiences. Whether it's a tough project at work or a personal trial, there's a gift kind of hidden inside that struggle, a strength that you probably wouldn't have gained any other way. And that leads us straight to the second core concept. See, if struggles are actually for our own growth, then the main work isn't about changing what's happening around us. It's all about an internal transformation. It's about renewing our minds. The key word here is transformed. And this isn't about finding some magic answer, or as a source puts it, getting a glowing neon sign pointing to the right choice. It's about fundamentally changing how we think about the problem in the first place. This is a really, really important distinction. The goal isn't to get a simple yes or no for our big decision. It's to develop a mindset where, hey, no matter which path we take, we're growing and we're aligning with a greater purpose. It's an internal process of becoming, not just an external act of choosing. To make this super clear, the source material uses this fantastic cookie dough analogy. So picture this. We start out as the cookie dough, kind of formless, right? Then we're put into a form, which is like a new standard. But the key part is the oven. That represents our challenges. And it's the heat, that pressure, that actually bakes us and conforms us into a new, stronger shape. The point is, we're not always taken out of the fire, we're transformed in it. Okay, so all of this builds up to the central framework of this whole discussion, the contrast between two completely different life scripts. You've got the ego drama on one side and what the source calls theodrama on the other. First up, the ego drama. Now, let's be honest, this is the default script for a lot of us. It's the story where I am the hero. The big questions are always, what's best for me? How can I avoid pain? And how do I make sure I succeed? It's a life completely driven by my own will and my own ambitions.
But the alternative is the theodrama. In this script, you're still a character in the story, but you're not the main one. You realize you're part of a much, much larger story. And the focus shifts away from making this single right choice to simply abiding in that larger purpose, no matter what decision you end up making. And just look at how different these two scripts are. It's like night and day. In the ego drama, the goal is to make the perfect choice to guarantee my own success, and struggles are just annoying obstacles in the way. But in the theodrama, the goal is to be transformed for the better by any choice, and struggles become the very tools that make that growth happen. Okay, so that's the big idea, but you might be thinking, how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, let's get practical and look at some tangible examples from the source material. This quote right here really just captures the heart of the theodrama mindset. It totally reframes our daily hurdles. They're not just random misfortunes, they're lessons. They're lessons from a great dad who's trying to teach us what we need to learn to grow stronger.
And here are some of those concrete examples. Losing a key employee, yeah, it feels like a crisis, but it's also a chance to build endurance. Resisting the pressure of the gospel of the P&L, the profit and loss statement, means prioritizing purpose over just profit. Even choosing not to give your kids an easy life, that comes from understanding that struggle is what builds character. You see, each one of these is a real-world oven. So at the end of the day, the goal of this transformed mindset isn't to find some clever way to avoid difficulty. It's about inviting the transformation that can only happen when we're under pressure. It's about leaning into the heat, learning the lesson, and building that endurance. So the next time you're facing one of those big, daunting choices, I'll just leave you with this one question to ask yourself. What if the purpose of this struggle isn't to escape it, but to be transformed by it? Thinking about that, it might just change everything. Thanks for joining me.